robust urban garlic flavor.
All right, before we get to today's topics, because we have a few to talk about, including why I quit Mario Kart World, my final review and thoughts of it, and then we have to determine what's the next game in the schedule, okay? Before we get to that, I just want to say yesterday, we faltered a little bit. We fumbled and stumbled. We didn't hit any support goals yesterday. Now listen, that's not the end of the world at all, and I want you to understand that with the amount of support that I've been getting recently, those first 2 days of this week were outstanding. We were hitting like double goals multiple times. I'm not upset in any way, okay?
Yeah, that is a bull-faced lie. He is absolutely upset. And there are going to be consequences for the games because of it, because he holds his games hostage.
But obviously I want to get back on track today. I think that yesterday it was really the game selection. You had GTA 4, which people are liking, but we've now played about 20 hours of 15. It's between 15 and 20 hours of it. And let's face it, I've played the game twice before for YouTube, so it's not as exciting as the first two playthroughs. There is some nostalgia factor, and the fact that I'm using mods does spruce it up a bit, makes it feel a little bit fresh and new. But I think kind of the gimmick of me playing GTA 4 has already worn out. It is what it is. If you want to know the truth, I think the same thing happened when I played it 6 years ago. Like, I'm starting to remember in my head, and I'm like, I think that's exactly what happened last time. Like, at first, people were hyped and excited, and streams were doing good, and then it kind of, slowed down about halfway through, and that looks like exactly what's happening now. So,
got it, Phil. It's the game's fault. Okay, moving on.
Because of that, all right, basically what we're going to do is we're going to move GTA 4 from daytime streams to night streams, okay?
Yeah, the night streams where games go to die on DSP Gaming because he expects the same amount of support even though he's streaming less than half the amount.
It's not the end of the world. It's not, oh no, the playthrough now is ending or I'm quitting the game. I really liked the game. To be honest, the amount of effort that was put into getting it to work with mods, if you remember, it wasn't easy. We were having issues getting it to work. I'm not just gonna stop playing the game. But I can't have it be the main featured stream of the day if people aren't gonna be as interested in it. It's weird because at first they were. Like, we were getting great attendance and support, and now it's kind of faltered. So we're going to turn that into a night stream.
Yeah, it's odd how Phil pumps out terms like artificial scarcity, but he doesn't understand what diminishing returns are.
And it's absolutely perfect right now because we're not doing Mario Kart on night streams anymore.
Because Only Iced Coffee didn't come and tip $68 to stream in one fell swoop. So all you people donating $1 and $2 troll tips, I don't value your contributions, so stop giving me money.
So we're going to have some free time at night to put a game like that, and probably what I'll do is play it like twice a week on night streams, so we'll get about 2 to 2.5 hours of gameplay in every time we play it. Probably by, maybe mid-August we'll wrap it up. But just so everyone knows, I made this abundantly clear yesterday, we're not going to do the DLCs. If people were showing up and engaging and supporting with the game, then I would be like, why not? Let's keep that rolling.
So apparently people aren't supporting, so he's not playing the game. Except he is playing the game, but it's on the night stream. I'm kind of confused here, Phil. Are they supporting or are they not supporting?
But already, halfway into the main campaign of the game, people are not showing up anymore. So why am I then going to say, let's also commit to the DLCs?
Yeah, another DSP Gaming playthrough not fully completed because he can't get enough support to his standards. It's tough being Phil, guys. He can't complete games anymore.
In fact, it's direct results. If people had kept showing up and engaging and supporting with GTA 4, I would have done the DLCs. I actually wanted to do them. I have them. I do. I have them in this version of the game that I bought on PC. But what can you do?
Yeah, listen here, fans of DSP, it's all your fault. You didn't give Phil enough money, so he's not gonna play the DLC. He may not even finish the mod game. Look at you, cheapy cheapskates, not opening up your wallets for Phil. Come on, donate to Phil. Isn't there a million positive and meaningful and chill reasons to do so? I'm having trouble listing them off the top of my head, though.
Now, I will say this as well. All right, I will say this as well. If GTA 4 starts doing well on night streams, if people show up and engage and support with it, and on the night streams there's a desire where people are like, can you bring this back to a daytime stream? Can we still do the DLCs, even though that one stream it went wrong? I would consider it. But we got to see how it does as a night stream. If people show up and support it on night streams, maybe I'll bring it back to a daytime slot, and then I'll commit to doing the DLCs. But as of now, there's no way I can do that.
Hey Phil, what if your night audience is different from your day audience? Ever thought about that? Wouldn't that be like problems if they supported it to bring it to the day stream? Maybe they'll be like, hey, if we support it enough, he'll just throw it back in the day stream and we don't have to deal with it.
All right? So I'm not dooming this game to a night stream only, and then we're only going to do... I'm saying it's possible, all right?
Oh, he is totally dooming the game. Once Phil shows his dissatisfaction with the game, he is planting the seeds of wage quitting it.
Anyway, so GTA 4 will now be a night stream starting next week. We'll see how it goes. If it does well, it may come back to day streams. If it does well, we may do the DLCs, but for now, it's going to be a night stream game. Okay? All right, hope that makes sense.
Yeah, makes perfect sense. You don't have enough confidence in the game giving you enough money, so you are literally minimizing the amount of times it's on your stream.
Last night with Mario Kart. So what happened with Mario Kart? Let me summarize. We will talk about my final review for Mario Kart World, and then we're going to figure out what game's going to replace it, okay? So, Mario Kart World last night was my best Mario Kart World stream ever.
Yeah, it was Phil's best stream ever, but he's not playing the game anymore. That is such a Phil thing to do.
My final match ever. Seriously, this made me feel so good. My final match ever of Mario Kart World, I won. I won Knockout Tour. So that means I won twice. Admittedly, the first time that I won, it was nearly an empty lobby with only like 5 or 6 humans in it and a lot of bots. This time, the lobby was full, and even my detractor troll stream snipers were in there trying to take me down, and they failed, and I still won because I'm actually good at Mario Kart World.
Okay, Phil. Congratulations. Nobody really actually cares. Like, what would be fun is if you opened up your own lobby and you let all the trolls race you. Because all 20 of them can't gang up at you at the same time. They can't pelt you with items because they'll just pelt them. No, that'd be fun. Now, if you did that and you actually won a knockout tour against all your trolls, I'd give you credit. Because we know your fans won't be able to join the lobby because they can't afford a Switch 2. They're too busy giving you their money and going broke.
That's right. It doesn't matter what any bunch of circle-jerking, mentally deficient idiots on the internet say. I have proven that I'm actually good at the game by showing distinct progress every time I've played it, getting better and better, and finally culminating in me actually winning a match when I had 4 or 5 people specifically gunning for me to take me down. I still won. There's nothing they could do. I proved that I'm good at the game, and they can kiss my hairy...
I don't think Phil realizes if they were specifically targeting him, that it actually makes it easier because they're saving their items instead of using it. So they're kind of clearing a lane for him, but he won't understand that.
The king triumphant, as always. You can't stop me, no matter how hard you try.
The king is going to protect his title by quitting the game.
So, now that that's that, you might say, well, why am I quitting the game? All right, here's why I'm quitting the game. All right, it's a pretty obvious reason. There's really 2 ways that a game works as a playthrough on this channel. Way number 1 is if I'm having an incredibly fun time. And to be honest, at first I was having a great time with seeing all the content, but then within 3 hours, we beat everything, including Rainbow Road. Like, wow, we saw everything.
Yeah, this guy expected a 20-hour unique experience of courses in a Mario Kart game. Okay, Phil, continue to living on Cloud 9 right there.
Then initially, when I was doing the online play, I also was having a good time with the online play. I would say probably the first stream or 2 that I did online of Knockout Tour I enjoyed. But once I actually got into the meta of the game, seeing that the game is dominated by item use and not really by good driving, I kind of fell out of love with it.
Phil, it's a Mario Kart game. Items are supposed to make the game fun and chaotic. But you don't want to sign up for that because you want to prove that you're the best racer ever or something stupid like that.
Even the overwhelming power of nostalgia couldn't allow me to like the game anymore. Therefore, I stopped liking it. Now you might say, well, if you stopped liking it after 2-3 streams of the online play, why'd you keep playing it? Because you liked it. You guys were showing up, engaging with the streams, and supporting them in droves.
Wait until somebody tells him that like 90% of the donations were from only iced coffee.
We were hitting the goals. People were contributing to pick my racers and carts. My trolls were coming out and giving me extra views. You know, even be honest, the revenue for the partner program over on Kick was pretty good whenever I played the game. So if all these factors are there, I'll tough through a game that I'm not enjoying if it means putting out entertaining content for you.
Oh, wow, you're entertaining an audience, Phil? Sounds like the first time you've ever done that in like your 18 years or whatever of content creation. Good for you, man. I don't think this trend will last though, especially since you're just rage quitting this game right now.
Okay? But last night is basically where the buck stopped because I'd done everything. I've unlocked all of the carts. I've unlocked most of the racers. There's a few racers I didn't get, but it doesn't really matter because they're all just variations of the same racers with outfits on anyway. It's not like, oh, he didn't unlock 20 unique characters. No, it's just stupid dress up for the characters. It's dumb, okay? There's nothing to do in the open world whatsoever. It's a complete waste of time, and it was a huge bait and switch for Nintendo advertised the open world as something good, and it's just not existing. It's just stupid, okay? And I've done everything in the online play. I've won multiple times. There's no real ranking system. There's nothing to level up or aspire to do. I've done it all. I won against all odds, and I gave a big middle finger to the haters out there, showed them that I'm good, and they have to kiss my balls. So there's nothing left to do in this game.
Dude, from your criteria, there was nothing else to do 3 hours into the game. It's a repetitive thing. You know, you go on about game loops. It is literally a game loop. You do it a little bit here and there.
On top of all of that, last night, I didn't hit my support goal, not even close. So if I'm not enjoying the game, if I've done everything in the game there is to accomplish, and if people aren't even enjoying and supporting it anymore, why on earth would I keep playing it? I'd be a idiot. Well, I'm not a idiot, so I'm not going to play it anymore. Okay?
Dude, it's not like you were getting $25. You got like $90 on a stream, and it was one stream and it was at night. You were being melodramatic. You just couldn't wait to stop playing this game. And you know why you were really incensed? Because everybody was having fun with this game except for you. Because you were the butt of the joke, and you can't take that.
No, Sean, I don't accept donations, but I do accept crowdfunding contributions and support. Thank you very much. All right. So, Mario Kart's out of the rotation. Now, I'm going to give you my review of it in a sec. But before then, allow me to do a couple shout-outs. There's been some support. I want to get that out of the way. I want to talk a little bit about our goals for the week and all of that. And then we're going to get to my final thoughts on Mario Kart World. All right? Okay.
Yeah, Phil is telling us that he's making a smart decision canning this game, but it's like, it's literally apples to oranges. He will do the same thing with other games. He's holding games hostage, he's begging, he's whining. It really doesn't matter what game he's playing. He just wants to play the most boring game that nobody on the internet will make fun of him for. But as long as he's playing Nintendo games, that can't happen because people will be like, oh, he's playing Nintendo? Look at him, he's failing at a kid's game. Ha 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 ha. The game journalist is back.
To be frank, it would be great to get some Kick support today. And what I mean by that is yesterday, there was a distinct lacking of Kick support. The people who usually come by and support weren't around. They had actually been around the day before, but yesterday, none of them were around. So what ended up happening was, we did get some good support on YouTube and some good tips, but 2 subs all day long on Kick. And we didn't hit any of our goals.
There's nothing like a DSP stream where you get a full financial audit, and he's complaining about Kick again because he always complains about Kick. Here's the thing, it's about 50 to 75 people, and he expects like 5 subs a day. Dude, there's not that many people there, and they're all LARPers, so like only the people that are supporting you are the YouTubers who are using sock accounts on Kick. Sorry, but it's true. Only Iced Coffee is really saving your bacon there over on Kick.
You know, it takes a variety of support from various different audiences, and some days we do great.
Yeah, because the whale comes in and gives you $100, but if 50 people give you $2, you're like, nope, don't want it.
Some days we hit the goal, and it's no problem at all, and then other days, like yesterday, like, wow, I got 100 people plus watching me over on Kick and no one's supporting. It's kind of weird and suspect.
Here's the thing, this dude takes it personally if you don't give him money, because if you're sitting on a stream, he expects money and he determines how much you value him based on how much you give to him. So if you give him $2, he doesn't think you value him. He only thinks that if you give him $20 or more. So yeah, this is our head case that we're dealing with.
So if you're watching on Kick today and you like the content, please support it. Don't be like Buckwell in his cataracts and pretend like you can't see and say that the game is ugly and then say, oh, I can't donate because I'm blind. Don't do that. Instead, actually support the stream by becoming a sub or maybe gifting some subs over on Kick to see your fellow viewer. All right? That would be very nice of you. And I'll give you a shout out if you do.
Yeah, he tells his fans that it's not a big deal that he hasn't hit the goal yesterday, but he's begging harder than usual. So what does that tell you? Well, it must be significant.
Now today, as I said over the last week since I've been playing Donkey Kong Bonanza, we have special animations. If you do a $20 tip, a $20 super chat on YouTube, or if you gift 4 subs over on Kick, also, the equivalent of that would be 7 gifted memberships on YouTube. So any of those things, if you do them, I will play a special animation for you that has both a cool animation, the dancing banana with my face on it, but also a sound effect. And depending on how you do it, like the super chat has one sound effect, but the other stuff will have a different sound effect. Okay? So
Yeah, this is the Phil thing. He charges a premium for the most basic thing. Like, Phil, the sound effects should be there for like $2 contributions, and you should rotate them with every other game you play. So like you should have like July sounds, August sounds, September sounds, October sounds, and so on and so forth. Like you do with your animation. It's like the most basic thing, and yet you're charging it like it's this premium, high quality thing. No, it's like the most basic, generic level, but you demand a premium for that. And then when you get support like that, you're still not grateful. Go figure.
I would say let's, at the very least, let's get halfway to the goal by the end of the podcast. That way, it's a lot easier going through Death Stranding 2 to hit that goal.
And you know why he wants that? Once he hits 150, he's gonna start begging for 300. That's why he wants it as soon as possible.
We want to get that momentum back. We actually had insane momentum earlier this week. We hit the 70 goal, and then we had 6 more goals hit within 2 days. That's nuts. Okay, that's absolutely crazy. Then we faltered yesterday. But let's get back on track for those who don't remember. All right?
DSP is going to keep begging for money regardless of whether he hits the goal or not. So it's like an endless money pit, because he needs to pay his bills constantly and he has no other stream of income besides streaming. He's not going to edit his videos, guys. He expects you to 100% crowdfund him.
It is. DSP tries it. A brand new thing. It's called MLB, like Big League Bites or something like that. It is a ghost kitchen service that makes pretzel dog sandwiches, including...
Yay! I'm gonna give Phil $1,500 so he can eat fast food, and then he's gonna be back begging for the next one on the next stream. Or maybe even during, because he has done that before.
Let's, like I said, by the end of the podcast, let's aim to hit halfway to our goal. So let's try to get $75 of support by the end of the podcast. That way we only have to do another $75 while we're playing Death Stranding 2. It'll make it a lot easier.
That's a lie. That's a lie. He's going to be begging for $225.
All right? And let's get that momentum going. Let's get back to hitting goals. That way we can do ESP Tries It, the MLB Big League Bites, hopefully by the end of the week. Okay? Cool.
Yeah, thank you, Phil, for reminding us about the true content of your live streams, whether you hit the goal or not, aka whether you get money or not.
My coverage of Mario Kart World has ended.
Oh, he really is using the word coverage, so I guess he must really be a gaming journalist now. Not a very good one, though.
Okay? What I would like to do is do a segment of my podcast here where we're going to talk about my thoughts about the game.
Well, okay, you don't have to tell us that. You can just do it, so go for it.
Now that I'm done with it, I'm not going to play it anymore.
You can tell how salty he is by the tone in his voice. It's so hilarious.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I've just completed my gameplay coverage of Mario Kart World here on my channel, DSP Gaming.
Oh, and I assure you, it was a robust coverage of Mario Kart World Knockout Tour as he complained and whined and failed at the game over and over and over again. The main mission? Have fun. Did DSP have any? No.
After roughly 20 or so hours of gameplay, give or take, it might be a little bit more, it might be a little bit less. I made about 19 videos.
Yeah, let's be more specific about that. 10 of that was during a marathon. The other 9 were during 5 other separate streams. And guess what? Every single one, raw, unedited gameplay. You know, the type of stuff that was the meta back in 2008 but no longer is. So to say Phil made a video is partially true, but he didn't make good videos. So everybody else clipped him and got a ton of views on the content except for Phil, because Phil is not very smart, or he's just lazy and he's like, yeah, I'll just live stream it and beg for money because begging will get more than me putting in editing work.
And this covered playing the entirety of the single player content of the game, meaning
all the boring races against bots, which I easily won.
All of the circuits, unlocking the secret circuits, and even doing Rainbow Road and all of that on the hardest difficulty level.
Oh my god, he actually thinks beating 150cc in Mario Kart solo mode is the biggest gaming accomplishment ever. Oh wow, I got a bridge to sell you, Phil.
Then going online and playing all the various online modes, including the standard single races, because they don't have online circuits anymore.
Yeah, you know why? Because over a circuit, a lot of people will disconnect.
Then the battle mode, and also a significant, probably 15 hours worth of the Knockout Tour, which really is the one new feature of this game, adding in all these courses connected together into actual circuits. Also, I did play some of the open world roaming mode. You know, the fact that this game has an open world that you can roam around and you can look for challenges, you can look for hidden question mark blocks or the Peach tokens. So I've pretty much done all of the content of the game. I've unlocked every single cart. The only thing I actually didn't do is I didn't complete all the open world challenges, and I didn't unlock every single outfit for every character. And you might say, well, first of all, why didn't you unlock all of the open world challenges? Because they're completely pointless. If you're not aware, Nintendo advertised Mario Kart World as the first Mario Kart game to have an open world to wander.
Which is true, it does, which is why it's called, literally, Mario Kart World. It doesn't mean there's anything valuable in it.
And said, hey, you're gonna want this game because it has more content than any Mario Kart before. You're gonna have all these challenges and hidden items and all of that. But what they failed to tell you was that it's completely pointless. All of that open world challenge content literally does nothing. Does it unlock any characters? No. Does it unlock any carts? No. Does it unlock any content at all within the game? No. It's actually completely pointless. What you get are these stickers that you can apply to your profile and stuff. They mean nothing. There's no reason to do any of the content. Imagine that, a video game that presents you with all of this challenge, but never gives you any outcome after you do it all. Why do it then? If there's no carrot that you're dangling in front of me to keep me moving, if there's no pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, then why am I gonna grind my way through all of this content? It's as if Nintendo had the idea, but literally never finished it. Said, well, we'll advertise like we finished it, but we actually aren't going to. We're just gonna have it there for content's sake. This is classic bloat, and it's what's happened, sadly, in the last decade. As consoles were able to start making games that had more content in them, big open worlds, what these game developers started doing was putting in frivolous, repeating, boring, open world grinding content. Think games like Far Cry, or think games like Assassin's Creed. Huge worlds, but what's the point of killing every enemy, taking over every base, and doing every objective if you don't get anything meaningful for it? Well, this is the classic textbook case of that. Nintendo wanted to say this was the biggest Mario Kart ever, but they didn't put any effort into it. But hey, they charged you $80 for the game. Because you might say, well, why else would Nintendo charge $80 for Mario Kart World?
Because Mario Kart 8 Deluxe was the best-selling game on the Switch, and Nintendo knew that they were going to get away with it. Because they gave you the option, you either bundle it in for 50 or you get it on your own for 80. And they were right, they got away with it.
Well, it has the same amount of tracks as previous Mario Kart games, so it's not the amount of tracks. It has a good amount of racers, but most of the racers are just skins of other racers, and they don't have any difference from them. So it doesn't have more characters. It doesn't have more karts than previous Mario Karts. Okay, what does it have? Better graphics. I will give it that. On the Switch 2, this game runs beautifully at 4K resolution. It runs at a smooth 60 frames per second, and it never really dips. So I will say that. It's the best looking Mario Kart ever made. Also, this game is absolutely great at nostalgia bait. And what I mean by that is if you're a previous fan of old school Mario Kart, or any of these Nintendo franchises, Donkey Kong, Mario, etc., you're going to love playing through this game once or twice and seeing all the nostalgic throwback tracks, or hearing the remixes of old music from the era of SNES or Nintendo 64 or GameCube. It hits you right here, right in the heartstrings. You're like, oh man, this feels like something from my childhood, but it's made for me as an adult. The problem is, nostalgia bait isn't enough to carry an entire game. And when it actually comes down to the gameplay elements of Mario Kart World, it's arguably one of the worst Mario Karts they've ever made. In fact, I would say the only Mario Kart that I've played that I could say is actually worse than this one would actually have been the Mario Kart that was on the Nintendo DS. I can't remember the name of it, but it was the first one that ever had the competitive online play. And the reason that I say that is because that game's entire gameplay loop was snaking. That game, what you needed to do was power slide left, boost, power slide right, boost, power slide left, boost. And if you didn't do that, you literally couldn't win a race. The entire game, you just had to snake.
Yeah, and what you don't realize is that you literally exposed your argument right here. Because that means it was a skill-based racing game. Because you need to be skilled at a certain part of the game to succeed. Now, your main complaint about Mario Kart World is that it's all random and there's no skill. So what is it, Bill? You can't have it both ways. You just sound like you're hating on Nintendo because you want to hate on Nintendo. Because, oh look, they made a game that was all about skilled racing, but it wasn't this racing I wanted, so I didn't like it. Oh look, they made a game where it was about items and being in a absolute dogpile chaotic mess, and I don't like that because I want all skill. You're contradicting yourself and you don't even realize it.
And it was stupid because it was a gimmick that should have just been that, a gimmick, and not dominating the competitive nature of the game. Mario Kart World is so bad when it comes to the competitive play. Actual driving skill is a completely moot point because the game now has 24 racers. At any given moment, someone who's in last place can get the blue shell, the lightning, the bullet bill transformation, the big mushroom transformation, and immediately turbo through everyone right into the top 8. And this happens over and over and over again. Now, admittedly, you do need to have some competence. If you're absolutely garbage at the game, you're not going to win races. But for the most part, playing well is not rewarded, but punished. Because there's 24 racers, if you're out front and you get hit by an item, chances are you're then going to get hit by another one and another one. It's going to become a chain reaction. And there have been several times where I am absolutely dominating a race front of the pack, and I get hit either by a red shell or a blue shell or whatever it is, and then I get comboed, then I'm at the end of the pack.
And what he won't tell you is that he has the exact same opportunity to get these items and rush from like 16th to 1st. But he won't complain when that happens. He only complains when it happens to him.
Then when I go to drive again, you're in last place. Oops, you couldn't get to the qualifier spot and you're eliminated. But I was the best player. I was literally sitting in first for like 3-4 minutes. How can you punish me for that? Mario Kart doesn't care. Mario Kart World is not a competitive game. It's a party game made for, people to just mash buttons and get lucky. And in fact, what people have said is the meta of the game has actually become how to stack, stockpile, and use items, not how to drive. So I just want you to think about that for a moment.
Dude, don't you realize that the items help and inhibit your racing? How you drive? So yeah, the items are essential because it's Mario Kart. It's like you've never played a Mario Kart ever before and you're expecting like, I don't know, like NASCAR? Yeah, Phil just wants to drive real fast and turn to the left sometimes and get rewarded for it because he thinks he's the best racer ever.
Nintendo created a driving game where they put so many players into it and so many overpowered items that driving takes a back seat to abusing the items. Wow, that sounds like a good idea, doesn't it?
Phil, that's kind of always been the case.
No, it doesn't. At all. And the sad fact is, even if you get good at that, if you get good at, oh, I know how to stockpile my items, I know how to predict when someone's going to get a lightning bolt so I don't lose my items, it even doesn't matter. Allow me to explain why. The standard races are horrible. You do one single race and then it cancels out and then it rematches you and you do one single race. There's no 1, 2, 3 placements. No one earns a trophy. The classic Mario Kart feeling has been completely removed from the game, so the actual standard online play is a waste of your time. But what about battle mode? It's awful. It's incredibly boring. What they tried to do is recreate battle mode from the SNES game, but it's so boring when you're just in this tiny arena and you're driving in circles, throwing items at each other. It's just stupid and pointless.
Dude, every battle mode in Mario Kart is pretty much the same across all the versions.
The only actual mode that has any legs in this game is called Knockout Tour. So what Knockout Tour is, it's the mode where you have to keep placing in the top few places every time that you hit a checkpoint to continue racing. If you don't get into that top category of places, you get eliminated, and then you're out of the race. It's very exciting, and this is the mode where you get to see all the tracks are connecting to each other in the game, which really is the only one new feature they added to this game. I believe I want to say there's 5 or 6 different circuits that you can race on, and they are randomly selected. You don't get to select them. You just get randomly thrown into them. There's no selection process or anything like that. And so, when you play this mode, the higher you place, you earn points. And so you're going to see this points total accumulate. But there's a small problem. The points actually have absolutely no meaning at all.
Yeah, Phil wants a leaderboard like he's playing WWE champions. He really needs to know where he ranks compared to others. Even though when you go on Knockout Tour on the screen, it shows you how many points you've accumulated compared to somebody else.
There's no categories, rankings. You don't go from, stone to iron to copper, silver, gold, diamond, plat. Doesn't exist. There's no ranking system at all. You can't see how good you are compared to other players. It's completely pointless. It's just a number that either goes up or down, depending on how well you do. The higher you place, the more points you'll get. If you place horribly, you lose points. But who cares? The game doesn't match you according to your points at all. You'll be in a match, you have 5,000 points, you'll be in a match with people who have 1,000 points and people who have like 10,000 points. The game doesn't care. It just puts you with anyone anyway. So, they don't mean anything. They're completely frivolous. Why do they even exist? I don't know. The thing is, if Nintendo was going to charge $80 for this game, you would think they would have put in enough effort to say, hey, we're going to make our game competitive. We're going to have leagues. We're going to have rankings. You're going to want to get to the master level, much like if you're playing a competitive fighting game and you're ranking up, or maybe you're playing Call of Duty and you have incremental unlocks. No, there's nothing.
Dude, this is Mario Kart, not Super Smash Bros.
I'm serious. There's absolutely nothing. The only stuff that you can unlock in this game is carts, and you get that just by naturally collecting coins over time, or outfits for characters, which you get by collecting the food bags on the stages. So it doesn't matter if you're good or bad, you're going to unlock everything eventually anyway. So what's the point of online play? What's the point of the ranking system with the points? Nothing. It has no purpose at all. Again, it feels just like the open world, something that Nintendo half developed, didn't finish, and said, oh well, release it, sell it for $80. The game is full of half-finished ideas and doesn't feel like a complete product at all. An unfinished open world, a complete nonsensical online play system. What the happened with this game in development? And if you want to know the honest truth, here's what I actually think has happened.
Oh boy, here we go. It's tinfoil hat Phil time. What do you got for us, Phil?
I think that Mario Kart World actually wasn't intended to be the launch title for the Switch 2.
Press X to doubt right now.
And you can call me crazy. I think that this game was supposed to be released later down the line, maybe in the fall, maybe in the winter. But they really wanted to have a first-party game to become the flagship title for the Switch 2. But they also didn't want to put all their eggs in one basket. So what they did is they said, hey, is this game ready to release now? Well, technically it is. It just doesn't have full features. Who cares? It's a launch title, and it's the only first-party launch title. Outside of Mario Kart World, the only other games available for the Switch 2 at launch were ports. Ports of games that you could have already played on another platform. So if it's the only unique experience that you can get, guess what? People are going to buy it regardless of the price. And that's exactly what happened. Mario Kart World was released half-finished for exorbitantly expensive pricing, even though it didn't have the features in it to warrant said pricing. But everyone bought it because we all wanted this original first-party game at the launch of Switch 2. It literally was a ripoff, and Nintendo knew exactly what they were doing, and they don't care. Because here's the truth, everyone. Nintendo doesn't care about you.
Wow, Phil, a corporation doesn't care about its consumers? Who would have thought? Oh my god, look at this groundbreaking analysis that our game journalist has for us. Phil, they put it out because they knew it was Mario Kart, it was the best-selling game, or the franchise was the best-selling game on the Switch 1. So they're like, yeah, we will put this out, it will sell like hotcakes. So if you're saying that this was not going to be the intended launch game, what would it have been? Would it have been Bonanza? Would it have been Pokemon Legends Arceus? I don't know. All I know is they wanted a game that they put out at launch as a system seller. You know why? Because they bundled it in with the system. They wouldn't have done it if they didn't think it was a system seller. And I'm sure when Legends ZA comes out, they will have a bundle with that as well. Just because you weren't fond of a game and consider it a ripoff doesn't mean it wasn't fully completed, and it doesn't mean that it wasn't intended to be the launch game of the system. Now, Nintendo may actually give periodic updates to this game during the life of the console. Why? Because they know that a lot of people are interested in multiplayer games that have seasons like Fortnite and Minecraft, you know, Fall Guys, stuff like that. So they're looking at it and like, okay, games constantly update these days, so why don't we do that with other titles? I don't know if they will do that, but we will see if they do.
Did you hear what I just said? Nintendo, the company, does not care about you. It doesn't matter what you think or this fanboy mentality that you may be a part of and this weird cultish-like following that Nintendo has.
I think Phil is trying to single-handedly reignite the console wars right now. I don't think it's gonna work though.
Oh wait, but they always release good games. What about the amiibos? What about the... Nintendo does not care about the common consumer whatsoever. You wanna know what Nintendo cares about? Money. Just like any other corporation, all they care about is making profits.
I like how you can just substitute Phil for Nintendo and everything he says still makes perfect sense.
They don't care about the quality. They don't care about anything. Seriously, all they want is to make money. So what they've done with the Switch 2 is did artificial scarcity. Oh, you can't get the console at launch. It's hard to get. Yet there were more than enough to sell. They just held back at providing them to the market. Oh, the only game available at launch is Mario Kart World. Oh, by the way, Donkey Kong Bonanza was finished, but they decided to wait a month and a half to sell it to create artificial scarcity. For the console you just dropped $450 for, maybe you wouldn't have bought a multiplayer game. But since it's the only first-party game available, sell it quick, sell it for $80, make everyone pay top dollar for it. You'll forget about it in a month because Donkey Kong's coming out. You see what they did? They actually used a savvy business strategy. The thing is, it's anti-consumer, it's anti-gamer, and it's actually downright immoral. They sold you an $80 game that wasn't finished, that didn't even have as many features as previous Mario Kart games, but they lied to you and said it had more. They said there was an open world, but the open world is meaningless and empty.
So Phil, what proof do you have, actual proof that Mario Kart World was not finished? Besides your own speculation. Do you have any? Just curious.
They said that the online play was different, but actually the online play is unfinished. Do you notice there's no uproar in the gaming community about it though? Because it's Nintendo. Because Nintendo has this weird fan base of obsessed cult-like people who, no matter what Nintendo does, they can do no wrong. I don't care that you sold me a half-finished game for more money than every other game, because you're Nintendo and I love you. You can't do anything wrong. Everything's always good with Nintendo, right? No.
Phil is literally delusional if he thinks that nobody out there is criticizing Nintendo. Like, I didn't buy a Switch 2. Like, the only consoles for the most part that I've had in my life are Nintendo handhelds and consoles. So yeah, I've not bought Switch 2. I'm not happy with the company's policies. Like, they've been breaking Switches for like emulation and stuff. Like, yeah, like Phil thinking that he's like this crusader that's on his own hill. Like, come on, Phil. You're on your own hill because you choose to be there, not because your anti-Nintendo opinion is not mainstream. Because people have been criticizing Nintendo because they've been actually doing stuff that you can be critical of. What you're being critical of is you're crying because you can't win every single multiplayer race. Like, I see right through it, Phil. And you're just hoping that if you rage about it enough that it will go viral, hopefully, and you think it's gonna get like 3 new whales that will support you like only iced coffee. Not gonna happen, Phil. You have to put more effort into editing your videos.
I'm sorry, but the modern gaming landscape is different. There's a lot of competition out there. PC, PlayStation, Xbox.
Phil, Xbox as a console is fizzling out. They're literally just putting everything onto Game Pass.
All of these handheld things now, the ROG Ally and all this.
Dude, it's the ROG Ally. Why are you calling it that?
There's a lot of ways you can play games. You don't need to buy the Switch 2 to get a family-friendly experience anymore. You can actually get that on other platforms now.
Family-friendly experience. This is the first time you've brought this up in this entire rant. Like, wouldn't it be more thoughtful to include this at the beginning if this was part of your criteria?
So, Nintendo should be forced to justify the purchase of the Switch 2 at $450 and an $80 purchase of this flagship title.
Yeah, but here's the thing, Phil. The early adopters are the hardcore fans that buy everything. So we will see, depending upon how the Switch 2 lifespan goes, if Nintendo has to justify the price of the console. Because more than likely, the console is actually going to go up in price. And that could actually be doom for the Switch 2.
They've done nothing to do that, yet people still bought it in droves. Do you see the problem here? If consumerism's attitude doesn't change, if people don't stop spending on things that are inferior or mediocre, there will never be incentive for a company like Nintendo to ever do better for you. Do you think Nintendo would ever release something like Nintendo Game Pass? No! Why on earth would they do that?
Yeah, here's what also is not being said and Phil doesn't understand. Microsoft has a huge share of market because they are not just a video game corporation. They are a massive multimedia corporation, if you want to call it multimedia. Like, they can gobble up all of these studios and they can release games as a service. Nintendo, if they want to be in the console business, they have to sell copies of games. And that's what Nintendo does. Nintendo is very cheap with their games. Just like how you are very cheap with sound effects on donations.
You're spending $80 for an unfinished Mario Kart. Why would they do a Nintendo Game Pass where they give you new games for a subscription? Are you out of your mind? Of course they're never going to do that. But that's because you reward mediocrity, okay?
Yeah, you heard him, only iced coffee. You reward mediocrity by paying Phil's mortgage.
So, Mario Kart World is a great-looking nostalgia bait trap. It performs very well. It has great remixed music. The tracks look great. But once you peel back that shiny exterior, you see a game that's bare bones, a bait-and-switch ad campaign with an open world that's completely frivolous, empty, and worthless, online play that has absolutely no effort put into it. Oh, by the way, There's also one final point that I need to make that no one else has talked about on the internet. You ready for this? Mario Kart World lags when you play it online.
Yeah, but that just may be your internet, Phil, because you use a splitter. Like, I love how he claims that so many things that happen in the game are lag, but then we have the video footage that is literally smooth.
And you might say, wait, it does? Why haven't I heard anyone say anything about that? In fact, I've heard the opposite. I've heard people say that it doesn't lag.
Yeah, this man would have loved playing Mario Kart Wii on Wi-Fi. I remember those days.
Do you want to know why? Because once again, Nintendo is dishonest in this game. They actually hide the lag. What do I mean by that? Well, a lot of games with online competitive play, if there's lag, they'll slow down the game in order for the game to be able to play catch-up. Mario Kart World doesn't do that. It continues to always play at full speed, but what happens is the game starts to kind of bug out. So for example, you'll see Wario will be right here in front of you. He'll disappear, and then he'll reappear way in front of you. What? A red shell will be thrown at you and the detector will go off. You have the speaker, so you press the button to stop the red shell will hit you. Why didn't my speaker go off? I pressed the button. But the game never lags, right? No, the game is lagging, but Nintendo doesn't make the game slow down. It still plays full speed, so it hides the lag. You may not notice it because the game is so chaotic as it is that things are always going crazy. With 24 characters on the screen, it's hard to keep track of what's happening at any given moment.
Sure, Phil, whatever helps you sleep at night.
But there's tons of times when you get hit by something that's not there. Or people are teleporting left, right, or all around. If you don't believe me, there is one absolutely irrefutable piece of evidence that proves what I'm saying.
All right, here we go. I'm sure it's going to be something completely stupid.
When you're playing Knockout Tour mode online and you reach one of the gates to qualify and continue to race, all of a sudden in your corner of your screen, it'll say you're in third place, fourth place. But as you approach the gate, it disappears. Then you drive through the gate, the game takes about half a second to figure it out, and then all of a sudden, the game will tell you whether or not you qualified, and then after another half a second, your ranking will appear again.
Yeah, just go watch one of my Mario Kart videos. There's pictures of him standing at the gate, and it literally changes incrementally. But he's like, no, I'm out because it says I'm in 21st, but it literally says 19th place. So Phil is just not paying attention as closely as he wants you to think he is.
If the game didn't lag, why would it need to erase your ranking, try to compute where you are, and then tell you later? It would just keep you in that place. But it actually doesn't know because it lags. It actually has to think for a second, and it has to look at all of its calculations to see where you are and figure it out and then tell you later. So for a split second, it actually exposes the fact that it has a lot of lag, but then it goes back to hiding it by having everything go in real time. So this is probably one of the most interesting ways I've ever seen lag hidden, because I've seen multiple games like Street Fighter, Call of Duty. They all do it a little differently these days. But this is actually the most dishonest I've ever seen. To not have the game ever slow down or stutter, but then to have things happen in the game that literally didn't happen on your screen, like a person disappearing and reappearing way in front of you, or an item hitting you that literally doesn't exist in the game on your screen, or not responding when you press your button so your speaker can't stop a shell. It's pretty bad. And there have been times when I'm at like 18th place and I'm at the qualification gate. You must be top 20 to qualify. My ranking disappears. I drive through and it's eliminated. But I was in 18th. Well, actually, I wasn't.
3 drivers passed him at the last second and he didn't notice.
But the game hid the lag by saying that I was in 18th, deleting that, and then just saying you're eliminated. So, ladies and gentlemen, Mario Kart World is a great-looking nostalgia bait game that is arguably one of the worst of this game's franchise ever.
Yeah, he's just using the term nostalgia bait because it is a franchise game.
And that's sad because we waited a decade for a new Mario Kart to come out. Remember, they kept selling and reselling Mario Kart 8. They had DLCs and expansion. When's the next one? Well, here it is. And now it's unfinished. It's broken, it's empty, it's way too expensive, it doesn't have content, and it lags. What a joke. But no one's talking about it. Why? Because everyone already moved on to Donkey Kong Bonanza. And that was Nintendo's plan all along. Release this game as the launch title, and then before anyone has a chance to figure out what's going on, move on to the next exclusive so everyone will be done with it and no one will care.
Like, dude, you're acting like they launched Cyberpunk 2077 or Pokemon Scarlet and Violet as the highlight release console game of the Switch 2. You're just salty because you're mad about not being able to win every multiplayer game. Dude, what you were talking about is not materializing. Nobody understands what you're talking about. It's just your thoughts. Like, you've moved on to Donkey Kong Bonanza.
It's marketing genius and it's business 101, but gamers are too ignorant to figure this out. Well, I'm not. I played for 20 hours and I can tell you, game's bad.
Well, he came to that conclusion because he wanted 30 hours of like a story mode in Mario Kart World, and he's mad about the multiplayer because he can't win every race. That's what he's basing it off of.
Sorry, it just is. If you love Mario Kart, you'll get some enjoyment out of this game.
Like, he doesn't get that there are people that play hundreds upon hundreds of hours of Mario Kart multiplayer. It just doesn't compute to him. So this is definitely not his type of game, especially because he can't win every online multiplayer game. Like, I seriously don't know how he was a competitive fighting player because he is the sorest loser ever.
But as a game that's value for your buck, or a game that even is like refutable, like, oh, this is a game that's good in the rankings of Mario Kart. No, it's not. It's actually one of the worst ones they've ever made. They just won't tell you and no one will talk about it because we're already playing Bonanza and we won't talk about this game again. It already passed. They got away with it. So if you've been waiting, is this a system seller? No. You do not need a Switch 2 just to play Mario Kart. You'll be done in 3 to 4 hours and you will be absolutely bored.
Like, see what I mean? He literally thinks that Mario Kart should be like a single player experience. He doesn't get what the point of it is. To him, it's worthless because he doesn't have friends to play it. And if he plays it online, he just plays with trolls. So it's like, who wants to do that?
Okay? So my final thoughts on Mario Kart World. It was a fun romp for 20 hours. I got my money's worth out of it as a content creator.
Thank you, Only Iced Coffee, for giving me a lot of money to play a kids racing game and rage about it. I hope you got your money's worth.
But value for the dollar for the average consumer is not there. $80 is insanely overpriced for what they've put together. Nintendo has successfully pulled the wool over everyone's eyes, making this a launch title that everyone's already forgotten about. The game is an absolute ripoff. And you shouldn't waste $80 on it unless you are the most hardcore, die-hard Mario Kart fan. This is a skip.
Like, Phil, let me give you a hint. You are definitely not the target demographic for this game. But I do agree with you. $80 for Mario Kart World is ridiculous. And shame on Nintendo for literally upping the expectation for the prices of video games. Now, the good thing, though, you could have gotten it bundled in for $50. But anything over $60 for this game is a ripoff. But Nintendo knows that there are people that play these games for hundreds of hours. So they're like, well, they're just gonna suck it up and buy it anyway. Which is what they knew.
But here's the worst part all about it, ladies and gentlemen. Are you ready for this one?
Get ready for something insanely nonsensical and stupid.
Even though you already paid $80 plus tax to play this game, in a year's time, Nintendo will release DLC. They will release more tracks, more content, more racers.
Which is the way the industry is going, so I guess they're going to do that. I would be surprised if they didn't continuously update this game, whether it's free or DLC, but we will see as we go forward. Now, Phil is literally thinking about the 8 Deluxe DLC, but here's the thing. Because the 8 Deluxe came out on the Switch, it initially had all the DLC on the Wii U version included. In the middle of the Switch generation, they added more DLC. It was basically tour tracks for the most part. And Phil is salty about that because he thinks the full game was $85. They literally went that route because they decided that 8 Deluxe sold so well that they were like, well, we'd rather develop DLC for it and just charge $25 instead of building a whole new Mario Kart game that wouldn't have sold as well as 8 Deluxe. And they figured that there was an install base that was so broad on the Switch, so they figured that they get more money selling DLC for $25 than making a whole new game and selling it for $80. So that's what Phil is literally thinking here, just not understanding the context.
And the like, and they're going to charge you $30 to $40 for it. Even though you already paid more than the game was worth at launch, they are not going to give you free DLC. They're going to nickel and dime you again for more content that should have been present in the launch of the game. I don't know what else to say. It's that simple. Nintendo has lost their way. Nintendo used to be better than this, but this is now their business strategy. What it is that people are so blindly following Nintendo that they just buy everything. So even though you already got ripped off, in a year, it's like Stockholm Syndrome. I'll just buy again. I'll spend more. Why are you spending more? You already got ripped off. Well, I got to spend more anyway. It's Nintendo.
Now you see here, if he narrowed his argument to Pokemon, he would have a point, but if you're just saying broadly everything that Nintendo produces, you're losing the plot.
Then Nintendo will never change. Nintendo will never improve.
Yeah, Phil, let me give you a lesson on capitalism. Nintendo will continue to produce products that are of a certain quality that the consumer buys them. Not anything more, not anything less. Because they want to maximize their profit margins. And you know why they want to maximize their profit margins more and more each year? Shareholders. Because shareholders demand more profit each and every year. That's why you see slimier and slimier tactics throughout the video game industry that are going on. And Nintendo is now adopting more of those practices because they are confident because the Switch did so well.
If you continue to reward their scamming nature and the mediocrity of what they're putting out in the modern day. It didn't used to be like this. Nintendo always used to go the extra mile. They made sure that their first-party titles had tons of content.
I can't wait until DS Phil Vlogs takes this rant and replaces every time he says Nintendo with Phil, DSP, or I, because that will be hilarious.
Polish and attention and quality. Remember the Nintendo seal of quality? It used to mean something. Now, it's a joke. Even the first-party titles look nice, but outside of that, there's just no substance, and that's sad. In 2025, Nintendo has essentially become a company that coasts. And they used to be the innovators in gaming. They used to be synonymous with greatness. When you didn't used to say, I want to play a video game. You say, I'm going to go play Nintendo. Do you say that today? No.
Dude, most of the people that are watching this video have no idea what you're talking about. But if you say play Nintendo, they understand what you're talking about. They're probably just gonna say, I'm gonna play the Switch. You see?
Because Nintendo has been the company that coasts on their previous laurels and doesn't put in the effort to earn your dollar, but you keep spending it.
Darkside Phil is the content creator that rests on his 17-year legacy laurels and doesn't put any effort to earn your dollar, but you still wail out on him anyway.
Mario Kart World is a ripoff. I don't recommend it unless you're a hardcore fan, but you're probably going to buy it anyway because no one listens.
Yeah, if you happen to have $500 laying around, you're better off giving it to Darkside Phil instead of spending it on yourself.
Someone tipped $1.23 and says, so Nintendo is like every other greedy gaming corporation that releases half-finished games on launch day. Thanks for the insightful review.
Oh, looks like somebody got owned right there. Yeah, DSP is trying to claim that Nintendo is greedier than him. Well, Nintendo is greedy, Phil, but you are certainly greedier.
Yes, they are, but the difference here is that no one acknowledges it. Almost everyone acknowledges now that the big game companies like Bethesda, Ubisoft, they're all doing this. But no one acknowledges that Nintendo is doing it.
Wrong.
Have you heard anyone else say what I just said and actually present evidence like I just did?
Dude, you didn't present any evidence. You just gave your opinion.
Everyone just kissed the game's butt and then moves on to the next Nintendo game. I'm the only one you're going to get honesty from because I have no stake in the game. I don't need to kiss Nintendo's butt because I'm not worried they're not going to provide me another content piece of game. You know, I didn't get Mario Kart for free. I'm not getting there. I'm paying for it like you, like a consumer. So I don't care if Nintendo doesn't like me. I have no incentive to lie. But that's why you're never going to get this kind of honesty from anyone else because they're all playing the game, right? They want to be in good graces with all these game devs. So they're always going to kiss butt, and they're going to tell it not like it is, but how they want you to hear it so that you're just complacent and you keep spending.
Oh my god, here he goes again, his I'm not a shill thing. You can only trust me, you can't trust any other reviewer. They're just being false positive while I'm the only honest gamer. Yeah, Phil, I'm going to attach a video that shows your history of shilling in a comedic form. You are just acting like this because you can't get sponsors because you are toxic and your trolls prevent it. So you're not better than anybody else, Phil. If you had those opportunities, you would take them in a heartbeat. Like, if you got a game code from Nintendo, you would be loving this game all of a sudden.
Not me. I'll tell you like it is. Let's see here. I received a $2 tip. So, okay, here's another person. I'm going to address this too because I think I should address this. The reason Mario Kart has no points or ranking system, yes, it does. It has points. It has point system. It doesn't have any purpose to it, but it has a point system. Your statement's already wrong. It's because Mario Kart has never been a competitive game. It's a party game to mess around on. That's also wrong. There have been several tournaments and tournament circuits for Mario Kart. Back in the day, remember I just mentioned the Mario Kart and Nintendo DS? There was a whole tournament circuit for it, and it ended at EVO. EVO, Fighting Game Championships, actually had a Mario Kart tournament at it.
Phil, just because there is a competitive element in the community does not make a game singularly a competitive game. You got that?
You don't know what you're talking about. The focus has never been about driving skill. It's about screwing people over with items. At least that's how it was when I played the other games with my friends. That's why Mario Kart has never had an official tournament or competitive scene. That's incorrect. If people want competitive skill-based driving, they go to Gran Turismo or Forza. That may be true. But what you're saying is wrong. Just so you know. And just because, all right, it doesn't have it now, doesn't mean it shouldn't have it. If all of your competition has it, if every game with competitive online play.
Dude, Mario Kart is its own thing. It is like the only racing game of its kind that has a huge following. Comparing it to something like Fortnite is like apples to oranges.
All have tiers and ranking systems and incentive to get good. Why not put that into your modern game that you're charging more money than all of your competition?
Yeah, because the way the industry is going, a lot of people are going to be priced out of these first-party games that aren't free-to-play freemium stuff, which is very sad. But Phil, like, you don't know the incentive, like, to have fun, to get better at it because you want to improve your skills and be proud of it, or you just want a leaderboard like WWE champions.
Doesn't it make sense that you should at least have the same features as your competitors if you're charging more? But they don't. They have a point system that literally does nothing. It's completely worthless.
Yeah, he's telling us that Call of Duty is a competitor to Mario Kart. Okay, Phil, have fun with that.
Does it make sense that in a game with competitive racing, the goal is not to be the best competitive racer?
And this tells you that he's still in his little fantasy world, that he doesn't figure out what kind of mechanics work in Knockout Tour and what doesn't. Like, Phil, only one person wins a race out of 24 people. You're not gonna win a lot of races, Phil, no matter how good you are. He thinks just that he spends some time in first place means he deserves a win.
It doesn't make sense. It's bad game design. And again, I kind of rest my case here. I do think that the game should be better and that it's not as good as it should be.
Yeah, you heard it straight from Phil. It's bad game design because he can't win every single Knockout Tour round.
Someone through the book says, you claim to not be a sucker, but you nearly bought 2 Switches and have bought every big Nintendo game. Okay, I'm sorry, but I have to respond to you in the most matter-of-fact way that I can. You are an ignorant fool because I am not a standard gamer or consumer. I'm a content creator. You understand? I bought the Switch 2 for $450. I bought Mario Kart for $80. All right, I spent $530 plus tax. I even bought a whole bunch of accessories. But so far, I did a marathon at the launch of Switch 2 that recouped all of that money already. I've done several streams of Mario Kart World over the last month and a half, each of which made me hundreds of dollars. I've made all this content. I will make even more content. Do you not understand the difference between someone who made an investment because they're going to make tons of money on the content versus the average consumer? When I'm reviewing these games, I'm reviewing them for you, not for me.
Yeah, I like how he thinks his live streams are so important that he literally has to fully clip them. Like 95% of his live streams are put back on his channel, but not just leaving the live stream up, just having them in hour-long chunks of unedited garbage that nobody wants. Like Phil, if you did not live stream, you would not be making this as a living because you only get like 500 views a video, if that. So yeah, and look at Phil here, like him flexing that he's making money off of it, but he has to panhandle all the time.
How do you not understand that?
Yeah, how do you not understand that Phil is an e-begging scammer that literally has to pretend he's playing games when the real content of his streams is whether he gets money or not?
Why would you make, what you're saying makes no sense at all. It's logically stupid, what you just said. I'm not an average person who I come home from work or school and I didn't pop on my game console to relax. It's actually my job to cover these things.
Okay, game journalist that has to constantly panhandle to hit goals.
To analyze them in this way so that you know if it makes sense for you to get it.
No, absolutely not. That is a side piece. You rarely ever do that and make a highlight video like you did with this thing. The reason you buy games is so you can use that as filler so you can panhandle on your streams and beg for money because it's like, look guys, I turned on OBS and play games. Give me $90,000+ a year. That's what you do, Phil. You are not a serious reviewer. You are a streamer who panhandles.
What don't you understand? Why would you even say that unless you're ignorant? Okay. Continuing on. I got $1.07 tip. It's a troll. Thanks for the money, dummy. All right. I received an incredibly generous $110 tip from Jersey Clyde, who says, I just wanted to show you some support, so have a good day, King. $110 tip. So first we're going to do this. All right. Well, let's be honest. I think the animation that everyone actually wants to see for that is this.
I need banana, tasty banana. I need banana, tasty banana. I need banana, tasty banana. I need banana, tasty banana.
And one more time.
I need banana, tasty banana.
Very nice. I did do 5 animations for $100. So thank you to Jersey Clyde for an insanely generous $110 tip. Let's get that up on the leaderboard. We're now at $159 of support on the stream. And that means it is absolutely, positively, 100% official. Ladies and gentlemen, the tithes have been received. That's a great way to bounce back from yesterday, that is for sure. Thank you so very much. We're now at 77 out of 80 goals hit. At 80 goals, it is the next episode of DSP Tries It. We are now in prime position to possibly hit not 1, but 2 goals on this stream. And if we do, that means we're in the home stretch to hit 80 goals, and DSP Tries It this week.
See? I told you! I told you! He only wanted to hit the goal early so we could beg for the second one! I'm not a psychic, I just know how he acts. Because this is the man. He is never satisfied. It's more, always.
Let's keep it going. It's sad to say in 2025 that we have to judge the quality of a game company not on the quality of the games they put out, but on how they treat their employees, because in general, these companies are treating their employees so badly, right? Like, sad to think that, but it's true. Most of these companies are laying employees off, closing divisions, slashing the budgets.
Yeah, it's called what happens when workers don't have unions, because corporations treat employees like cogs in a machine. They are disposable. So if you don't have that, corporations will walk all over you.
At least Nintendo is doing right by their employees there. I can't fault them for that. You're right. This other companies do exactly the same things Nintendo do, and everyone destroys them, criticizes them, slams them. But the Nintendo does it. Oh, that's a good thing. I'm glad they did that.
Yeah, people were not happy that Nintendo charged $450 for the console and $80 for Mario Kart World. So we will see if that actually has an effect later into the lifespan. We don't know right now because the early adopters, they just pick up everything. Ah, yeesh, I went overboard here again. Thank you all for sticking with me for over an hour and enduring this man. And I will see you next time for more Mario Kart Nintendo Switch Dark Side Phil coverage. Because apparently I'm a Dark Side Phil journalist right now. See you all next time. Bye.